112. Hi. In true Mercury retrograde fashion, when I first began this live, my mic just wasn't working. And it definitely threw me off because I didn't expect that. However, and this isn't the first time that I'm encountering a situation with modern technology. Car is technology, right? I had a thing with a car as well. But with both situations, an issue shows up, catches me off guard, but I always find a fucking solution because I refuse to give up. And I think that's the theme, is the belief of self. I think that just getting started with the message is the belief of self is going to be so important this Mercury retrograde season. And I think will be easier to traverse through if you just fucking believe in yourself. You know what I mean? Don't take no for an answer, but don't sell yourself short. Yeah. Anyway, hi. Happy Mercury retrograde in tropical Leo, sideral Cancer. Please be aware that I am not, this isn't one of those readings where I'm pulling cards or anything like that. I've actually closed the chat. No idea how to open it again. I just have some shit to blurt out to release. And then I am going to bounce and prepare for the second session of the Tarot and Chill, which I don't know when it's going to happen, but I just want to mention that here. And sorry, I actually should have gotten the I should at least make the chat available, because I intend on most of my lives, my collective live readings, to be interactive. But again, please be aware, I'm not pulling cards for anyone. We are dealing with the Mercury retrograde energy. And as well, I don't expect anyone to be here. I'm not going to do this for too long. Like I said, I just want to read on the energy, give my 2 cents on what I think is going to happen, pull some cards, and then log out. So something that I'm finding very interesting about this Mercury retrograde season in particular is how previous messaging on Mercury retrograde doesn't apply here. Yes, obviously you have to slow down. Yes, there will be some issues with technology. The usual stuff, communication fuck-ups. What else? A revisiting of the past. As Mercury retrogrades, as they show themselves, I do think that it's going to be standard in certain ways. And I tweeted about this to say that the theme, in my experience and what I've observed on Mercury retrogrades, is that they are a particular season of pointing out the lesson of surrender, and how some things are in your control, some things aren't, and the things that aren't in your control, it's not that big of an issue. It may feel major. It may feel really intense in the moment where you realize you don't have control. But if you kind of zoom out and get a broader perspective of the situation at hand, you'll find that chances are it's not that big of a deal. Like, as I mentioned, coming onto this live, my mic wasn't working. And in the moment, it was obviously very stressful because that's something that isn't going my way. And what I'm about to follow up with in terms of describing how I felt, I think is going to be the general theme for the Mercury retrograde experience for this one. Experiencing that loss of control and not knowing what the problem is with my mic brought a lot of passionate emotion. It brought out a very passionate reaction over the fact that this wasn't working my way. After some time of pausing, allowing my own mind and my own, inner wisdom about how computers work, about how mics work, about what happened when I previously used the mic, putting 2 and 2 together like that, giving myself a moment to pause and allow my own brain, my own inner wisdom, to come up with answers. Hey, Pearl, to come up with answers on how to, on what the issue is. I had to allow inner wisdom, give it time to lead me to the solution. And the solution itself came very fast. The minute I calmed down, I knew exactly what to do. I kind of just allowed my knowledge to guide me to the solution. Same thing happened with the car issue that I had mentioned, also happened in the start of this Mercury retrograde. There is something that I've learned recently. You can add a limit to how fast you drive so that no matter how hard you push the accelerator, the car won't go any faster than that. I had no idea. So I'm out on the road driving, making my way to gym, and I'm trying to accelerate and the car is not going any faster. But also my inner wisdom, I guess you could call it, happened to be aware of this limit thing that was going on in the car that I'd never seen before. I just took note of it as like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know what's going on there, but that's very interesting. And then later on, it turned out that that's something that I would have to face in order to fix. So again, to, close off and round up the idea that I've had, any problem, any backtrack or delay or retrograde type situation that you face during this season, I can almost guarantee you that you will have the solution for it. It will be stored somewhere inside of you. And if you, now this is the energy that I'm not entirely sure about. I'm still trying to work through the difference between allowing yourself to passionately express yourself and express your emotions, and then the solutions come, or controlling your emotions and not passionately expressing them per se, but calmly allowing the emotions to kind of dissipate within you themselves, and then the solution comes. I can't tell what about that duality, that reaction, either exploding it, letting it out, or holding it, not suppressing and not really controlling per se, but kind of just giving yourself time to pause to let the emotion dissipate within you. I can't tell which of those two is going to be the one to lead you to the solution. However, with both experiences, and I can say I actually did experience both in those situations, the car situation and this mic situation. The car situation, I had to pause because I was on the road. I couldn't freak out. I had to give myself myself time for the emotions to dissipate within me and allow my calm to guide me to the solution. Versus this mic situation, I exploded. I swore. I was extremely frustrated. I got to the solution. So I guess it's whatever works for you. But either way, please trust that a solution will come. I'm also feeling into a lot of really passionate situations, so that a lot of passionate situations, a lot of passionate internal stirrings. Yeah, things that are going to make us feel a lot, or external situations that should make us feel a lot, but in contrast, surprisingly, we actually process very calmly. So there's this balancing, a dual spectrumy type situation that I'm feeling is likely to happen with us. Neither of which are actually bad, which is part of what I was feeling is the difference, is what's going to be different and a little bit special about this Mercury retrograde. We're all expecting it to, it feels like at this point we're all scared. and I guess because the greater collective is caught onto the language of retrogrades, and like huge publications are writing about it now. It's standard. Like no one doesn't know about a retrograde, Gatorade, whatever. You know what I mean? Because of because of how Mercury retrograde as an idea has spilled over into a greater part of the collective consciousness, it feels like that greater part of the collective consciousness has influenced the collective's reaction to Mercury retrogrades. So that collectively, it's like we're all part of this huge, giant collective body, and that collective body itself is scared of this retrograde. I think that what's funny, and now I'm feeling into now maybe the possibility, may possibly link to this recent transit that happened with the Uranus in tropical Gemini, how things are kind of like, things have inversed in a way where you'd think that something happens and it's not actually going to happen, it's happening another way, or when you think something won't happen and then it's actually going to happen. You know what I mean? There's this like opposite day energy in the air right now that's that's going to catch the whole lot of us off guard, but in a really fun way, because as I'm saying, we're all expecting it to be bad. We're all expecting this retrograde season to be like really terrible. And again, I think the only terror that's going to come from this experience is the lack of control, and how there will obviously, as retrogrades go, Mercury retrogrades go, there will obviously be situations that happen, problems that arise, that will naturally be out of your control, that will surprise you, that will catch you off guard. However, I think what will be, again, as I've mentioned before, extra exciting, and that I'd really like to emphasize so that we don't get scared, you know, the collective that tunes into my work, we don't have to be scared. No one has to be scared, but I'd like to warn the people who watch my shit that you don't have to be scared at all. In fact, you can actually feel extremely excited. Because you will already have had the solution. It's very much like I'm feeling into the idea that you have the solution. You will have the solution to the problem before the problem even arises, kind of thing. What will catch you off guard is the fact that the problem may come up so quickly. But if you give yourself enough time to either pause, calm, or express, let out, you know, be angry, frustrated, whatever comes out, allow whatever to happen, be true to yourself. If you let your truth happen, the solution will come. And I'm getting the sense that it will be a perfect solution, the exact solution that you would look for to the problem that arises. And yeah, you'll just be really surprised at how easy the solution comes and how easily it solves the problem, and how you never really had to be frustrated. You didn't have to even, like, you don't have to worry about anything, you know? I think that's another thing about this Mercury retrograde that's going to, it's going to lock that specific lesson in, on the fact that you don't have to worry about anything. Your job is really simply to just be yourself and allow the consequences of what comes up via being yourself to happen, and then let your life happen, and then just live. That's really it. Like, life doesn't have to be so tight and constricted and complicated and closed off and dark and stressful. You know what I mean? I also posted this via Instagram, that the crossover energies that I felt between the archetype of Cancer and the archetype of Leo, I believe both of those archetypes really know how to uphold love and nurture, and just the vibe and symbolism of a big heart, a really big heart that's unafraid to feel and unafraid to to be true to the feeling part, the heart part of being alive. So I think that's going to be a really blossoming theme through this season. It's going to be, and that's the element of surprise that's going to come in. I think we're all going to be very, very shocked by how much we can feel and how many feelings we have within us that we haven't allowed ourselves to feel either ever or for a very long time, considering how hard this year has been for most of us, how still it's been. It's like we're walking through a very dark, thorny forest, or we're trying to make our way through extremely muddy waters. What's going to be very lovely about this retrograde is it's like there'll be an opening. And I think that everything will move easier if you don't resist. Try not to deny the way that you feel when you feel the things that you do. Again, that frequency I'd mentioned about the calm versus the loud expression, that calmness is not a suppression. Don't suppress your emotions. That is the last thing that you should be doing, especially this retrograde. And I think that is actually what's going to bring up a lot of retrograde what's the word? Experiences. If anything retrograde happens about this, it will be from the root of not being true to yourself, of holding in, of constricting, of doing this. The minute you feel yourself doing this, do everything you can to expand. Very, very important, very urgent, very major, because I think that a lot of mistakes can come out of situations where it happens, like, not good. And I'm not one to tap into the whole dual, not good, not bad, good, bad thing, but I really do feel like this tightness is especially bad, bad news. So don't suppress your emotions. Don't hold anything in. If you feel like, if you worry, I think I'm trying to feel into why anyone would suppress, because easier said than done. And I am, as somebody who is a suppressor, sometimes these things can happen beyond you. Like, a situation happens, you'll go about your day, suddenly you'll find, before you even realize it, that you've actually been constricted and holding your neck up and your shoulders have been tight the whole day. Obviously, forgive yourself, forgive others. That's another big theme as well, forgiveness and releasing. We will get a chance for that specifically, we will get a chance to practice radical forgiveness and radical expression of unconditional love, which is not easy. And I think anyone tuning into my work knows better than most that forgiveness, we know the line of how it can be self-deprecating. But I think this season, we will have to learn how to practice the boundary of it. Like, you can forgive someone, but it doesn't mean that they get access to you. You know what I mean? We're going to have to practice the difference between those things. But yeah, at the end of the day, please don't suppress your emotions. Now is the worst time to do that. If you feel like crying, if you feel like breaking down, if you feel like having a mini TB, go for it, and go for it with full passion. If you also, this is also an important one, but I want to word it without coming off too crazy. If you feel like swearing at God, swearing at your life, swearing at your ancestors, or swearing at anyone who you have a big love for, but who may like have deeply disappointed you in some way, do that. And if someone has that energy towards you, try to hold compassion. I feel like, I'm really feeling into this inverse energy where it's like one way, but instead the other way happens, and that other way is happening so that we can open our hearts more. So compassion, forgiveness. The past revisiting thing, I've also seen that being mentioned a lot, but I don't think that, I think that the past revisiting, should it come up, I feel like you already have a very clear idea of what you want, so that if this past revisits, it's like, no offense to the past themselves, no offense to that individual who may come up, but it's like they're an NPC in your story. They are, it doesn't feel like they'll that past revisiting, it doesn't feel like that itself will have a huge effect on your energy field, no huger than what you can have on your own energy field. It feels like a lot of this retrograde will be very internal work and internal shifts. I'm also feeling into the likelihood of time doing a weird thing again, just like how I tweeted about this, that a lot of us thought that yesterday was Wednesday. And it's odd because today actually feels like Friday. So it's like Thursday just disappeared. So that kind of thing I feel is going to happen more often. A lot of people also have been having their internal worlds affect their physical bodies, which is actually honestly, if you've been on one this whole year, it's been happening the whole year. And it's why many intuitives and astrologers as well have been emphasizing the fact that you need to take preventative care of your health, stay in front of your health so that you don't get caught off guard by any side effects of the pressures of your external world, because lots is happening externally, right? It's a crazy time. It's really crazy. So I think it's a bit at this point, I think, and not to be, I don't want to be, rude or condescending, but I think it's a bit naive to continue life assuming that your internal world and your internal emotions don't affect your physical health. If you're not aware of that by now, then you probably do need some kind of physical ailment to get you to really see it and experience it, because this is a very important it's a very important facet of this living experience, and it's going to become more important as we progress into being a more spiritual humanity. So please look after your physical health by tending to your internal, emotional, spiritual health. And please maintain that. I've also I will post in the description some frequency meditation that specifically has to do with the heart space and connecting yourself to connecting relationships. I think that'll be a very important exercise to do throughout the season. I also tweeted about how apparently, and I got this from an interview that I'll also link in the description with David Clements and someone else, I don't know her name, but she mentioned how you can access your light's truth, your higher wisdom, by putting your awareness on the back of your heart space, which is actually really difficult to maintain. So I practice it by putting my awareness first on my general heart space, and then I try to shift my awareness to the back of it. If that doesn't work, then literally just focus on your back. Just put your awareness on the back of your chest. And yeah, you'll find it. You should if you can tell that you're doing it right if you feel drawn or like physically inspired to improve your posture and to like poke your chest out a little bit. You'll also literally feel a lift here at this point of your body at the back. You'll feel the lift. You'll literally feel it. It's very, very magical, actually. It's very surprising. And it's been very, very, very helpful for me to alleviate some of the winter blues, the depression that I've been feeling throughout the year, to be honest. It's been extremely hard for me mentally. And just beginning this really, really basic exercise since last night has truly changed, my life. I'm never going to forget about the fact that I can do this. I truly won't. I'm practicing it right now. It's incredible. So please be aware of that. Please be aware of the little things that you can do to help you be happy. It feels like there's also going to be a lot of that, ironically, during a retrograde season where people, like I said, the greater collective seems to be programmed against Mercury Retrograde to assume that these are the seasons that are kind of here to like mess with you and cause chaos. No. Not at all. And I don't think this is the season as well. I don't at all think that this will be the season to bring chaos. I think there's going to be a lot of really sweet invitations for us to be happy and to be open and to love openly and to be fearless about it. We just have to really be unafraid to take it. There'll be plenty of reasons to be afraid. It will be very scary. It is very scary to be vulnerable. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to be vulnerable. I hate being vulnerable. So this is going to be an experience for me, but trust that you are safe. You are always safe. You're not going to die if you cry in the line at Checkers. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the end of your world. And you may find that some kind person may approach you, you know what I mean? Offer you a tissue. Next thing you know, that person's the love of your life. You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of really amazing, radical coincidences as well, I think are going to happen a lot this season, but not because of Mercury retrograde, more because of how anticipated this month and the 8-8 portal will be, which I put into the title. We are doing so much incredible energetic work for this 8-8 portal. And it is going to be, it's going to be so exciting, especially for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere. Hey, Carrie. For those of us in the Southern Hemisphere who have really, oh man, fuck. It's been tough. It's been a tough season. It's been cold outside. It's been cold inside. It's been cold everywhere. We are going to be so warm. Come 8-8. We're going to be so warm everywhere. It's going to be so fun. And I don't want to leave the message dangling of new love, whatever. Obviously, that's something that can happen. However, I don't want us to focus our sights on that potential, rather on the internal blossoming of our worlds, on the fact that we will be happier and more consistently so. If you're like me, it may have been a really, I have a really rough time. I realize, especially this year, I have a really rough time maintaining joy. I think generally I'm too much in here, and this is the part of me that really wants to my heart has been dying to lead the way. In the same way that some of us can say our ancestors have been dying to lead the way, our angels, our God, all of these things operate at the same frequency of love, which in itself, that frequency, has been dying to lead the way and to let us know that we're okay. It's okay. You can do what you want. If you want to be miserable, if you want to be depressed, if you want to have no hope, then fine, that's up to you. And that's how loved you are. You can do whatever you want, and you will still be loved, you will still be accepted, and you will still be forgiven. This 8-8 portal is going to be you know what I mean? Like an angel singing level of how we're able to realize and come to that truth that we are always loved, always forgiven, always accepted as we are. If there's one person who denies you and doesn't want to accept you, there's at least 1 billion other people who would. You know what I mean? Realizing that, living that truth, literally holding yourself posture-wise, even taking deep breaths as if you know you're always forgiven no matter what you do. You know what I mean? What would you do? If you knew you were always loved, if you knew you could never make a fucked up decision, there are no mistakes. If you really knew that, how would you behave? How would you be? How would you look at your life? How would you interact with other people? This 8-8 portal is going to be us doing that, essentially. For some people, because of how they're still working their way through this awakening process, it's going to be an invitation. However, I think for those who have been at this fucking game of awakening and trying to seek truth, trying to live authentically, trying to follow our light, stay hopeful, etc., it's not just going to be an invitation. This 8-8 portal is going to be a literal activation of that. So we have every reason to be extremely excited. And fine if you don't feel or you can't maintain that energy of excitement, then at least be at peace. knowing that you have, knowing that you're okay. I wanted to say knowing you have a lot to look forward to. But again, if you don't actually see it or believe it or feel it, then that's not a problem because you still have a lot to look forward to. So either way, either way. Yeah, I also feel called to just remind you of the whole projection thing. That's been coming up for weeks now, that you shouldn't take other people's behaviors personally. And I think we're also long past the stage of taking other people's behaviors as a reflection of yourself or a reflection of a part of yourself that you can't accept or whatever. I don't think we have to think about that anymore. I think that we are at liberty of ignoring whoever we feel doesn't operate on our frequency and paying strict attention to who does. And paying attention to the actions and spaces and occurrences that make us feel more loved and more forgiven, more accepted. Shit like that. Yeah, so I'm going to pull cards now, specifically for this Mercury retrograde. I said it at the beginning of this reading, but I just want to repeat the fact that this isn't the reading where I'm going to be pulling individual cards for people. I'm purely exploring the Mercury retrograde energy leading up to the 8/8 portal. We also have, with this Mercury retrograde, we also, in tropical Leo, we also have a new moon in Leo coming up on the 24th next week. Lots of Leo energy, which I'm going to assume is also going to be a new moon in sideral Cancer. So yeah, the feelings, the emotions, they're incredible. As a random one, I'd also like to just, any past revisiting, like I said, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it is obviously going to make you feel some things. And should that be the case, again, you already know your truth. I feel like the answer to what comes next will be obvious, but please don't be so closed off in general. I'm emphasizing again, just this part of your body staying as open as possible, your heart being open is very important. Anything that closes your heart off, anything that closes your heart off needs to be addressed, but I think that the addressal of that will be up to you. Like I said in the beginning as well, I think you'll know what to do with anything that makes you feel like this. You'll know. Whatever you need to do to relax and open up, just focus on that, on expansion. Focus on the expansion. Yoga. Yoga is a very expansive exercise. It's beautiful. So definitely get into that if you haven't. And meditation and whatever helps you. You know yourself. So I'm going to pull a card now for what could be coming this Mercury retrograde season. I'm not going to pull too much. I think I've already yapped enough, and that's really all I wanted to say. So yeah, we'll see what the energy brings up for us. I was considering doing a pick a pile for this, but I think maybe I still could. But I feel mostly called to encourage you to just like live your life and be in the moment. Try to be as present in your life and in your body as possible so that you can keep yourself expansive and not contracting and not tight. Anything to do that. And I saw this in a fave of mine's reading. She'd mentioned how there's a lot of this need for control in the air where a lot of people are like tuning into a lot of tarot readings. And I don't want to feed into that kind of frenzy by creating a pick-a-pile. I really do think now is the time to like just be yourself, live in the moment. And as she mentioned, her name is Queen Cup, Destiny. As she mentioned, just try to let go. Stop trying to be so in control all the time. Okay, so we have Justice, the Eight of Cups, and death. So they fell out in the order that they fell out, right? I believe now, obviously, again, I just want to emphasize this, that I have my own way of reading and interpreting these cards. But if any of your own personal interpretations arise from just looking at these cards, then it's likely that your interpretation is more true and accurate than what I can offer you. It's why I like to hold the cards up and hold the cards up. I don't just hold the cards up so you can like take a look at the picture. I'm intending on you to take in the energy, take in what you see and what you feel of the images of these cards. It's also why I love this deck so much, because the way that she explores the ideas of each card, she goes out of her way to give you, to encourage you to take in the images of the card first and sit with the vibe of each card. So with each, I do think, yeah, like I said, with all of them sitting together like this and in the order that they came in, and tapping into the energy that I had said I've been sitting in, which I think many of us globally, and obviously anyone tuning into my readings can relate to, we have been experiencing some bullshit internally. We've been shedding a lot, which I think feeds into why we've been feeling so exhausted, tired, sometimes lost and confused. I've been feeling a lot of that emotion, depression over the fact that I don't actually know what's going on. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what my next move is. And I feel so out of control over that. I think that all of that has been an expression of the shedding of an old life, the shedding of an old way of being that just no longer works. And particularly for me, that old way of being was stressed, being constantly concerned, being obsessed with being in control, being obsessed with knowing exactly what the next move is. An energy I also tapped into this morning in particular was being okay with not knowing and shedding all of those parts that aren't okay with not knowing. So I think that this card in particular speaks of that. A very important aspect of maturing that has been very difficult for me to step into is the idea of accepting the fact that no one actually knows what the fuck they're doing. And when you see people walking around in their incredible assets and their nice jobs and their insurance and whatever, they don't know either. They just have nice things and they have insurance, but they're no different from you because, yeah, no one knows what's going on. No one knows what tomorrow holds. And something I've been seeing over and over again is the idea that a huge chunk of the youth of today are working for jobs that are not going to exist in the future. That is terrifying to know, and I think is part of this energy. It's terrifying to know that we are losing a sense of everything that we've known. Nothing of what we have been building towards and been holding intact, even subconsciously, for millennia, stands true anymore. A lot of everything we're seeing is false. The illusions are, the veil has disappeared a very long time ago, and that is very disarming. Disarming? Is that the word? Disarming? It's very, very scary. It's terrifying. It's tragic. It's grief. It's loss, right? Loss of everything we've known. This card coming out with justice, though, I think speaks to the fact that I think I'm specifically now feeling into the idea that the work that we've done in order to shed and accept the fact that we don't actually know what's going on and be comfortable with that, we're going to get our reward for working so hard to maintain peace through this period, this deep, deep period of grief and of shedding ego. We have truly died. We really have. Some huge part of us, individually and collectively, has died and will never, ever come back. Everything we've known. It's actually, I know we say it a lot, but it's really, there are no words to describe the experience that we are having right now as a humanity during this time and during what we're witnessing. The way the illusions have completely shattered, the way that there is no actual real sense of security, and we all know it, but we're still trying to chug along as if everything's normal, and it's not. It's incredible. And it's incredible to you that you have managed to maintain such peace throughout this time. People have died, by their own hands because they couldn't face this. They just couldn't deal with it. People have chosen to die, but you're still here. That's a huge achievement, way bigger than any words can express. And I know that certain generations will see this kind of thing as of course you're not, like, that's so dramatic. Choosing to die is so dramatic, but it has been a solution for many of us, right? We've seen it, we felt it, we've all felt it on some level, how it might be better for us to just not be here, but we're still here. And we'll get the scales are balancing right now. You know what I'm saying? The hard work wasn't for nothing. It wasn't for nothing. It was a fire. We were burning in the fire. It really was. And we faced this, scary as it is. We faced it. We're still facing it. I feel called to read the interpretation of this card and then pull one more card and allow us to sit with the new that's coming in, because I do think I posted about this on Instagram as well. I think we are all feeling it on some level. I know I always say this, that we're always feeling some sense of it, even if we don't believe in the spiritual experience of it, and even if we don't have the words. But I think that this time around, especially with waking up today, something has totally flipped. Something's changed. Something's changing. We are preparing for something major. I think it's also cool, the image of this tree and how it looks like a winter tree. So this speaks of moving from material stability, uncertainty, to a less definite but more spiritual future. A new situation that promises deeper involvement but could also include real risk. Withdrawal from a current situation due to a compelling inner message. I feel like I want to sit with this just a little more to understand and get something specific out of it, although I'm not getting a specific situation so much as I'm getting a real spiritual rebirth, Phoenix type, Scorpio energy, Plutonian, 8th house, and even 12th house. Something about a burning down of everything so that the landscape is completely fresh and something really new and worth it, something really new and worth it and deserved can come out of the rubble. This Mercury retrograde that's happening right now is happening in my country, South Africa's 12th house. So this is something along those lines as well. I am getting the potential, I just want to mention it just because I want to cover all the bases, that if you are dealing with some legal issue, that it will come to, what is it? It'll come to balance, it'll end. It may not end in a whole way that you hoped, in like a yes way that you hoped, but it will come with its own relief. Like, at least you'll be done with it, A legal issue, a past, okay, so some of this past relationship energy. Yeah, personal. There's a past relationship. It's not past. I've recently decided that it's in the past. But there's still some part of me that really hopes that it's not the case. And with these cards falling out in the way that they are, it seems like I made the right decision to let it go. So it'll be that feeling, where you really, there's obviously some part of you that will still hope for the light to have come out of the situation, still hoping for a turnaround, but it really is the end. So, but yeah, trust that something new is going to come out of the mess that's burned down. And don't be afraid to feel everything, including that feeling of loss. I can't be afraid to feel like, oh, I really wish it worked out, I was really rooting for the thing. I was really rooting for it. Anyway, I'm going to pull one more card and then, yeah, I think we have everything we need. We always do. The Five of Discs. So I think, yeah, any past relationship that does come up, past connection or a past situation, maybe even a past like dream that you decided to leave, put on hold, and you told yourself you may or may not revisit it in the future. Yeah, there's no revisiting of it. You're gonna have to let it go. Yeah, but you can trust yourself and trust the decision you made to let it go. I'm gonna tap into the Five of Discs. Oh, yeah. This past relationship that I'm thinking about that I clearly am going to have to let go of, I really had such high hopes for it. And the hopes are it's especially crazy when it's weird when it's like the universe was at some point telling you, that this is it and that this is it. and you're receiving it from all angles. And now suddenly the way everything just flips, it's like, wow, I can't believe that I ever thought that this was it when it clearly isn't. And I clearly have to walk away from it and let go. Speaks of moving house. A change of life and circumstance, travel. New opportunities appear after a period of strife and adversity. The current route may be hard, but may prove beneficial in the long run. Yeah. So we clearly have a lot of there's still a lot of emotions, a lot more crying and emotional expression to release, to let out. I'm feeling into, and I've suggested this before, journaling. That may be more helpful, surprisingly helpful. You wouldn't think so, obviously, because of how generic that is, and as an advice, like journal. Everybody tells you to journal. Everybody says journaling is useful. Journaling is useful, but the act of doing it is a whole different story. So if you can push yourself to do it. I read on Suleika Jouad, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She once spoke of how during a deep period of grief, as she was processing her cancer diagnosis, she would journal every day, even when she didn't feel like it. And I'm sure we've seen or heard of many writers who have done the same. So it may be surprisingly helpful. Yeah, and just and stay hopeful. There's definitely something new on the horizon. It might be harder than you'd assume to let the old go. And it has to be let go. Every single bit of what no longer belongs has to be shared in order for you to properly step into this new life. Every part has to die. And I guess with all these cards falling out, there's still more of us that needs to die. And it might hurt a bit, but I think, you know, we've already done so much. We've already done so much, and there's going to be a real clarity and peace of mind that follows from this, which in itself I think might also be surprising. As I'd mentioned in the beginning of this reading, there may be a lot of really surprising nooks about your emotions and about the way that you feel. You are a lot more expansive. We as human beings, we're a lot more expansive than what the norms of society have allowed us to sit with. And yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. We are hugely expansive. We have such a huge range of emotions within us that really deserve to be felt. Every emotion needs its time in the spotlight. And I think every emotion is going to get its time in the spotlight so that we can come out anew by the time the 8-8 portal comes, which again is going to be very fucking exciting. Very exciting. I'll do a separate reading on that because I think it deserves its own, and there'll be plenty of us on the internet doing readings on it. And you know what? Honestly, if you've got your own cards and your own deck, and if you have your own capacity, you should do one for your own self. I think what you channel for yourself will be a lot more accurate than what anyone else can give for you. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. Let me just sit with this a bit more. Yeah, this energy feels like a huge focal point. The 8 of Cups. And I think something very important to note about the visual of this card is the fact that all the cups are set. They're like locked into the roots of the tree. They're immovable. There's not really much that you can do. There's nothing left. There's nothing else left. Just have to move on. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm boohooing for myself. Really disappointing, man. When you work for something, you work hard for a relationship or a turnout, anything, and it just doesn't turn out the way you expected it to, even though you were really, really sure in the beginning. But anyway, all is well. And I hope that even my display of the raw emotions I'm experiencing, of this potential disappointment that's to come during this retrograde, encourages you to do the same. Feel raw about yourself and about your story. And know that everything coming to pass is truly for not just our greatest good, but for the greater good of the collective. Like, everything truly is on purpose in the longer run. Remembering that the long run has lasted for like thousands and thousands of years, you know? So yeah, good luck to us. Happy Mercury Retrograde, as I've said. And I hope we have a good season. Yeah, I hope we have a good season. Thank you for watching. Always. And thank you for being. And thank you for everything.